Hi, everybody. I wanted to review with you the Unit 2, Lesson 1 problems that I assigned to you earlier in the week. It's Friday. I'm tired. So I'm going to go ahead and go over every problem so that we can kind of review. And if you had a little bit of a challenge with it, then hopefully this will help, okay? So the videography team entered a contest, nice, and won a monetary prize of $1,350. Which expression represents how much each person would get if there were X people on the team? And it says to select the correct choice. So I'm going to go ahead and reread it to myself again, but out loud so that you can hear my thinking. And when I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and take note of some very important values in this problem. Okay, so I noticed that the videography team entered a contest and they won. Yay! So it's a positive. They got money, right? And they won a monetary prize of $1,350. So that's important. You're like, okay, so that's an important value, right? And then I'm being asked to find an expression, right? So what am I being asked to do? I'm being asked to find the expression that represents. Okay, so one of these is going to be a model for this scenario. How much each person, cada uno, cada persona, every person, how much each of them is going to get, right? If there were X people on the team. Okay, so the X tells me it's a variable. I don't know how many people there are. Then it's asking me to select the correct choice. So I'm going to look at the first one. There's a 1,350. That's a monetary prize. But I'm adding, and I have to ask myself, am I being asked to add something to this? Am I adding the money to the people? Like, does that make sense? You're like, this isn't really an addition kind of problem, right? The next one, 1,350 minus the people. So you're like, the prize money minus the people? Like, what? Right? That doesn't tell me how much each person, right? Each person. What operation allows me to split things up for each person? And it's not addition, right? And it's not subtraction. So I'm going to go to my next one. 1,350, and it's a fraction symbol, which means division. So you're like, nice. And then it says a 5. And you're like, where did that 5 come from? Because I don't know how many there are. It's an X. So I'm going to go ahead and say, not that one. And here's the last one, 1,350 divided by the X number of people. And that one would make the most sense, right? And when I write this bigger so that we can kind of explain how it's represented by everything in the scenario. So 1,350, that's the monetary prize, right? The X represents the number of people. And that division is because I want to know how much each person is going to receive, right? So it would be the last one, the last expression. Let's do number 2. Okay, so here's the next one. Each of the 10 students in the baking club made 2 chocolate cakes for a fundraiser. They all use the same recipe. That's important. Using C cups of flour in total. Okay. Write an expression that represents the amount of flour required for 1 cake. And then type the answer in the box below. So it says each of the 10 students in the baking club made 2 chocolate cakes for a fundraiser. So I'll go ahead and highlight some of the important information. I can use pink. All right, so each of the how many students? There's 10 students. In the baking club made how many cakes? Made 2 chocolate cakes. The chocolate's not important, but the 2 cakes, right? They all used the same recipe, right? That's important because I know that the same amount of flour was used in each of these cakes. And that C is going to represent the cups of flour in total. All of the cakes, right? All of the cakes is equal to the capital C. And what am I being asked to do? I'm being asked to write an expression, right, that represents the amount of flour required for just 1 cake. So if you remember ratios, this should start to make sense a little bit, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and write our expression based on the information that was given to us. So if I want to know how much flour is in all of these cakes, right? The amount per cake, what I want to do is take all of the flour, which is represented by that C, right? The total cups of flour. And look, it's broken up into the cakes. What operation allows me to break things up, right? Evenly. Well, that's division again, right? So C divided by what? Well, there are 10 students. So I would write here, there's 10 students. And each of them made 2 cakes, right? So times that 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how this lines up. So we've got the C that represents the total cups of flour for all of the cakes, the 10 that represents the students, and then we have the 2 cakes per student. That's right here in my drawing, right? My little illustration. So you could have written it like this, and some of you wrote it like this, where you took your total cups of flour and you divided it by 20. And that would be correct as well, because there are in fact 20 cakes, right? If each student made 2 cakes, well, 10 times 2 is equal to 20, okay? So these were your expressions. You could have given me this, and you could have given me this. Remember that all we're doing is taking a scenario and then translating it to an expression, okay? Let's try the next one. And here's our last one. A softball team is ordering pizza to eat after their tournament. Okay, they plan to order cheese pizzas that cost $6 each and 4 topping pizzas that cost $10 each. Nice. They ordered C cheese pizzas and F 4 topping pizzas. Which expression represents the total cost of all the pizzas they order? And it says to select the correct choice. Okay, so I'll go to my whiteboard so I can annotate. Okay, so what's important here? A softball team is ordering pizza. That's nice, right? But I don't need to highlight that. They plan to order cheese pizzas. Okay, so this looks important, right? Where the cheese pizzas cost $6 each. I'm like, I need to know that, right? And then the 4 topping pizzas cost $10 each. Okay, so it's 2 different kinds of pizzas, right? One of them is just that plain cheese pizza, and that costs $6. So I'll make that one a $6 pizza. And then the other one is a 4 topping pizza, and that one is $10 each, right? But it's got toppings, 1, 2, 3, there's a 4 toppings, kinds of toppings, but I'm just saying. All right, so they ordered C cheese pizzas. So C, if I'm defining my variables, is going to represent the number of cheese pizzas, right? The number of cheese pizzas. Whew, I need to practice with this. And F is going to represent the number of 4 topping pizzas, right? Number of 4 topping pizzas, okay? All right, and then I'm being asked to decide, right, which expression represents the total cost, right? So now I want the total cost. This is kind of what we're working with today and yesterday. So which of these expressions is going to represent the total cost? And then it says to select the correct choice. All right, let's go ahead and go through each one. So 6, that's the cost of my cheese pizza, but it says here it's F. It's a 4 topping pizza, and then it says that the cheese pizza is $10. So you're like, not according to this. According to this, the cheese pizza is $6 and the 4 topping pizza is $10. So you're like, no. How about the next one? The cheese plus the 4 topping pizza. But if all I'm given is the number of pizzas that was ordered, how would I know the total cost? Right? It didn't include the cost. So how would I know like how much I'm gonna pay if there's no cost here? So this is just the variables, and it wouldn't make sense. All right, this one says 6 plus 10. And you're like, Now, if they only bought 1 cheese pizza and 1 4 topping pizza, I guess that could work, right? But it's not, that's not what it says, right? They said that they ordered C cheese pizzas and F 4 topping pizzas. So you're like, no, that's not right. And then here's the last one. So let's read it. Remember, because algebra is just translated. So it says 6, and you're like, oh, that's the dollar amount, right? 6 is the dollar amount. C is a number of cheese pizzas. So yes, this term right here is modeled correctly, right? $6 for the number of cheese pizzas plus, and we're using addition because we want the total cost, right? The operation is addition in this case. And then we have $10 for the 4-topping pizza, right? $10 for the 4-topping pizza. It's $10 for the 4-topping pizza, the number of 4-topping pizzas. So yes, that one would be correct, right? So 6C plus 10F would give us the total cost, right? And if we just read this with regular English language, it says $6 times the number of cheese pizzas, so far so good, plus $10 times the number of 4-topping pizzas. Okay, so in this case, this would be our answer. Okay, so this week, what we did is write simple expressions and equations to model contextual situations. So in your practice problems, you did expressions, but in class today, we worked on modeling contextual situations using equations, okay? All right, so make sure that you do your quizzes, which is due on Monday evening, okay? So then you'll have tonight, you'll have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to get it done, okay? So I will see you all next week. Thank you for joining me. Hasta luego. Bye.